As with our other problems, there is nothing wrong with following our process, at least as it relates to thinking about reading the problem twice and documenting the assumptions, thinking about when those cash would flow, and then using Excel to produce the solutions. So let's go ahead and document what our assumptions are. So the asking price of this stock right now is $5, and that is what you are considering paying for this. Now, when you're doing your analysis, though, you see that net income is projected at $5 million and that equity is currently $45 million. The key part to this problem is to recognize that growth will be constant, which is your immediate trigger to think of the Gordon constant growth model. So we see a couple of other assumptions that we can make. As such, there are 4 million shares, and that the next dividend, which we know we'll call dividend 1, is expected to be 15 cents. Stocks of similar risk are expected to pay 13%. So now we've got all of our assumptions well labeled, and so we can begin to do the calculations that will get us to the Gordon constant growth model outcome. As a reminder, the Gordon constant growth model is going to ask us to solve for P0 as being equal to dividend 1 divided by R minus G. But before we can get there, we have some sub-calculations that we'll need to take care of. So, to get that dividend 1 piece, we've got that right here. So we know that we've got a portion of our formula. The R we've got already given to us right here. So we have 2 components of our formula already. So it looks like it's just the G that we need to worry about. But G has 2 other subcomponents, plowback and return on equity. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure those things out. Well, plowback is going to have to be related to how much we pay out. So payout ratio is going to be equal to dividend 1 divided by earnings per share 1. It's what percent of the next dividend do we pay out. But you see now that we also have earnings per share 1 to deal with. Earnings per share 1 is going to be equal to the next net income divided by the number of shares that we have. So now we're finally in business to be able to solve for our next earnings per share. So let's go ahead and do a little formatting here first. Make ourselves a nice little subscript. So earnings per share 1 is going to be equal to this next net income divided by then our number of shares. So now we've got an earnings per share number. Well, now we can get ourselves to payout ratio by taking that dividend of 15 cents, divided into the $1.25, and we know that payout ratio is then 12%. If then we have payout ratio of 12%, we can easily get to plowback ratio as being equal to 1 minus payout, indicating that when you have earnings, all you can do is either pay out or plow back. So we have a plowback of 88%. Well, we know that G equals plowback times return on equity. So now all we're missing is a return on equity figure. So in order for us to finish our G calculation, we've got to be able to find ROE. And ROE is equal to net income divided by equity. So in our problem here, our ROE will be equal to the $5 million in net income divided by the $45 million in equity. This has all enabled us to go and find G. So if G is equal to plowback times return on equity, We now believe that this company should be able to grow at about 9.8% or so. With all those inputs then, we have our div1, we have our R, we have our G. So now we should be able to determine how much we'd be willing to pay for this stock. So the price is equal to div1 divided by parentheses R minus G. And we see that our price is $4.66, where the ask price was $5, so you would not be willing to buy this stock.